So, how do you feel right now about how Trump has dealt with this trade war? Do you see that actually stopping this Thucydides trap in any way, altering the outcome of China overtaking us?
What I was taught, I lived 20 years in China. I saw it happen. I mean, people owning bicycles to owning Mercedes Benzes, all done through building up their own domestic economy. They built themselves up behind 40% tariff trade walls, where they shipped to everyone else, like the United States, with 2% tariffs. So Trump was the first one to come in and go, "What's going on here? This is ridiculous." China has customized their weaponized their custom house, so they literally have active plans to make everything local. That's why 99% of the cars that are sold in China are made in China, and only 50% of the cars sold in the United States are made in the United States. This all carries huge ramifications for jobs and technology and everything, and that's why we've really struggled. We went 30 pre-Trump, we went 30 years with no wage increase for the working class. Yet economists will rarely talk about it. And so I think he's done a pretty good job, but it's just at the very beginning. And, we're in inning one of waking up and realizing that China ate our lunch. And
Since we let China into the World Trade Organization, the U.S. has enabled it. The U.S. has built this up. There are players in the U.S. that have profited wildly from this, from the hollowing out of the industrial base. This was a made in the United States, was the U.S. industrial base hollowing out. So I'm just, when I hear the rhetoric now, like we need to attack China because they did what we told them to do, right? I mean, that's like a very crazy country that thinks that it's like if you have kids, you say, "Johnny, go get the broom." And then Johnny gets the broom and you say, "Johnny, I'm going to have to spank you because you got the broom," right? I mean, it's so simplistic, infantile, and stupid. But I don't think it's going to be reversible at this point, Dan. So there's going to be two outcomes noticeable. One, of course, the prices of things are going to change radically if the dollar starts getting weaker. Obviously, that translates to inflation. But secondarily, getting back to the intellectual property side of things, this ability of the U.S. to export intellectual property will change also, because since China will become the biggest market, films, let's say, coming out of Hollywood that don't portray Chinese in a positive light will get censored. People on social media that are not saying what the Chinese government wants to say will get censored or deplatformed. So, the reason why we need to fight what's happening at Twitter in terms of deplatforming now is because in a year or two, we'll be taking the fight to China. And we're going to be arguing with China. Look, there's a democratic right we have to speak and have our First Amendment. And they'll be like, "That was very 20th century of you and very novel. And you're so cute. We love you and keep buying our stuff. But please go home and you're drunk."
Yeah, good points. You saw what happened with the NBA. One tweet by a Houston Rockets GM. "Oh, China comes up. Oh, about the $5 billion contract we have with you, NBA. Sorry, that's going to go away." They've been censoring Hollywood content. It's got to be at least 5 years now. I mean, you've seen the new Red Dawn, one of my favorite original movies from the '90s. They remade it, and the invader was going to be China, but they had to change it to North Korea. So they've been censoring Hollywood movies. They own AMC, the second largest movie network in the United States. They put government money behind that to control those narratives. And their social TikTok. I mean, what's TikTok? TikTok's a lot of there's a lot of racist stuff on there. There's a lot of stuff that degenerates. A lot of teens twerking. There's a lot of stuff that degenerates the culture. And you have to ask the question: is China like sitting back laughing at this? I mean, it's interesting how with all these.
Is it like a virtual opium war? Remember the English attacked China by exporting opium. They became addicted to opium and they were forced to buy more opium. So TikTok is kind of opium, cyber opium for teenagers, where they get addicted to the degenerate behavior on TikTok, and China's sitting back counting the money.
Yeah, that's the cyber opium, which is in addition to the fentanyl, which they give us, which is really like a new opium war. And it's interesting. It's like, how can China, with so much power they have, not stop fentanyl exports? They could if they wanted to, but they don't. But talk about technology, artificial intelligence. They had their Sputnik moment on artificial intelligence when the AlphaGo artificial intelligence program that was done out of London beat the top Go player. So chess is the Western game, Go is the Chinese game. Chess they see is very rude, very Western. It's very frontal attack. We're going to attack you. We're going to conquer you. The game of Go is played with black stones and white stones, and you slowly, patiently try to encircle your opponent. So they're big into Go. When the top Go player was beat by the artificial intelligence, 288 million people in China watched it live, and they were shocked. And within a month, the Chinese government came out with an artificial intelligence plan. This is 2013. Said we're going to be number one by 2020, which they are today, and by 2030 we're going to dominate. Half of all venture capital today in AI is in China. Okay, 400 unicorns globally. These are companies with $1 billion market cap. Not all AI, obviously, but most are tech. 206 are Chinese, over half. 147 are American, and that leaves about 50 something for the rest of Europe and some other countries, Japan and others. But it's basically, we're in a tech development is all US and all China now, and China's winning. How far ahead are they? Can you quantify it? Maybe 3 to 5 years. AI is basically the electricity of the future. It's going to disrupt every industry. Okay, it's going to be like an electrical grid. Every industry will take AI, machine learning, and radicalize it. So in that report I talked about, the Chinese came out with, they reference hundreds of industries that need to bring AI in. So health, what are we talking about? Healthcare, radiologists disappear. AI is going to be better. Autonomous driving is an AI application. So the list goes on and on. Where they stack up is some of the best AI now globally. That connects in with 5G, because 5G is the network that carries the AI applications. Everything's hooked up to sensors. So China, as you mentioned, Russia, Putin, they have all recognized, and I think Putin, to quote him, said something like, whoever controls AI is going to control the world. And it's that important of a technology. China's throwing, $1 trillion behind AI industrial parks we talked about. So they are moving rapidly. They have the engineers. All of the AI algos are pretty much already done. Like the real hard learning for deep learning algos are done. Now you just need application. You need all these entrepreneurs to get it out into the industrial spaces. So we talk about industry 4.0. You're talking about factories that are completely automated, completely networked. Every piece of equipment has sensors on it. It's all categorized in real time. But now where we're starting at in the US, oh yeah, our factories are gone. We shipped them all overseas. We don't have anything. So this is now we have a big, in the United States in particular, we have a big catch-up phase to go through. Germany, I think they kept their industrial base. They're still at the top of the leaderboard there, so they can adapt AI technology quicker. But yeah, it's the most important technology, along with 5G going forward, and then maybe quantum, which China is also outspending us probably 10 or 20 to 1.
Yeah, you mentioned
solar is making leaps and bounds. I think that's going to be the technology, but it's not always 100% efficient because of the sun is not 100%. But there's plenty of energy coming from the sun. As long as the technology curve continues upward, it's all going to be solar. Eventually you're going to be able to, it's probably going to be a mix of solar and nuclear. China's rapidly moving down the phase, in both pathways.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for blowing our minds with some information about China, because here in America where we are, we don't hear much about the outside world, from our news sources here.
No, we're in a bubble. We're in remember that show Romper Room, and the lady used to say, put up a big round glass thing and say, I see Dan and I see Stacy, and it was all very comforting, and